Hey, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you as always from the Retro Wrestling Archive here in beautiful Gadsden, Alabama. And please join me in welcoming back my co-hosts. It's the podcast tag team known as the P3 Express. It's Josh Briley and Richard Mulligan of P3 Radio. Guys, how are we doing this fine evening?
I feel like it's been a fortnight, Gene, since we've been here. I don't know what a fortnight is, but I feel like it's been that. I feel like we needed some kind of special entrance or fireworks or something. But this is awesome. It's great to be back.
Either way, Gene, I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
I don't know who this fucking stranger is right here.
DT's not here, but we'll do a spoiler here. This isn't Sunday morning like it usually is. This is Friday night. And the last time we recorded on a Friday night, it was a little more fun-filled, a little more jovial. Richard said some things he probably wasn't proud of afterwards, but, you know.
Don't remember them.
There you go. So that's all that matters. But no, Richard, it's good to have you back. And Josh, welcome back as always. So, guys, how was it having, Richard's had plenty of weeks off, but Josh, what was it like having a week off so we could hear from JC Ice, Jamie Dundee on last week's episode of the podcast?
Man, it was so worth it sacrificing last week, not being here to talk wrestling with everybody, dude, because I listened. And oh my God, I was belly laughing in my bedroom, just trying to go to sleep. I was just rolling. And if anybody, if you skip it because it's like not the regular format, you're doing yourself a disservice. Yeah. I promise you, no matter if you don't usually like just interviews, I swear it's worth it. It was so worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I did my best to keep the train on the tracks, to keep Jamie talking about 1993, and for the most part, we did. And the few times he did veer off, it was totally worth it. But for the people who have listened here and have, are like our patrons that listen on Patreon, and we've made the jokes about how Jamie speaks of his tiny friend. Oh my God, were we ever proven right in this one? It was amazing. Like hearing Jamie tell stories of Midget D was worth the price of admission alone. There's a lot of great stories in this one. If you haven't checked it out, you're missing out. But man, just the little segment of the interview where he went all into detail about back when he had his midget. We've joked about on Patreon about how he always talks about his midget, like, when somebody refers to like owning a dog, and he doubled down on it here, man. And I didn't prompt him. I didn't tell him, hey, we've said this or anything. I was just like, hey, let's talk about Midget D. And he was off to the races. If you haven't watched the video version, you need to watch it. The faces he's making as he's doing his impression of Midget D are just absolutely priceless. So yeah, go back and check. If you haven't yet, check out episode 51 of the Retro Wrestling Review. And Richard, for a long time now, it's felt like something that was way off in the distance.
Yeah.
Eventually it was going to happen. But as we record this, it is the day before the big comedy show at Cody's Bar and Grill in Jackson, Tennessee. And by the time people are hearing and seeing this on Wednesday and afterwards, it will have already happened. It will have already been a huge success and sold out. People hanging from the rafters, as Ricky Morton would say. Are you nervous? Are you excited? How are you feeling tonight as we prepare for this big event?
The only thing I can equate it to was the fact that my dad kept telling me, I'm going to be back. I'm coming back. I'll be there next week. And it's just like Garth Brooks says, tomorrow never comes, right? So in my mind, nothing's going to happen tomorrow. We're not even going to have a show. Something's going to go down and it's just not going to work. But I know that's not right. That's not how time works. We're in a linear space here. So the show will be here tomorrow. I don't think I have had a moment to stop thinking about the show in the past 2 months to actually be nervous or focus on anything but the show. I've been writing new material today, which is never a great idea. You never want to just go, hey, let me just wing this. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see how Josh reacts. I feel like he's going to get loose, give some Yankee dimes out there. Yeah. I feel like he's going to be a ladies' man as much as he can be out there. and a man's man, I guess. He's going to be a man of the people.
Sir, my wife is going to be there. I don't know what you're referring to.
He's going to be a man of the people, is what I mean. I don't mean like he's going to be womanizing. I mean, he's going to be shaking hands and kissing babies. Well, there won't be any babies there, but he's going to be shaking hands with everybody there. And, it's rare that we get to spend so much time together. So we'll have a good 2-3 hours together that night. And having a great time. So thanks everybody for coming out.
and don't get confused like my buddy Tommy Rich does at some of these events. Sometimes he ends up kissing hands and shaking babies, and they don't like that.
Frown on that.
Make sure you keep that in order. Speaking of Tommy, boy, the Philadelphia trip was awesome. We had such a great time. Met a whole bunch of ECW legends. We sold a bunch of the Eddie Gilbert books, which yours has been procured, Josh, by the way, and signed.
Awesome.
Finally got to visit the ECW arena for the very first time, and Blue Meanie gave me and Doug a little history lesson about the ECW arena, and that video will go up on the Facebook before long, and there's audio of it on this week's Dangerous Conversations that you can find over on the Memphis Mafia Facebook page and my Facebook page. But it was just a really great weekend that I won't soon forget, and I felt fortunate to get to be back in the dressing room and hanging around the ECW locker room with all these guys I grew up watching. I'm sitting across from Shane Douglas and Todd Gordon and the Sandman, all these guys telling stories of all the wild times they used to have back then. And I'm just like sitting there like, this can't be real life right now. Like, what's going on, man? So a lot of fun. Wish you guys could have been there with me. But as we get this one started, this is episode 52, guys. So this is 1 year that we have been doing the Retro Wrestling Review. 52 consecutive weeks so far without a break. We have brought you original content right here each and every week. Well, not all of us, but most of us.
Some of us have been here like 22 weeks.
Take your word for it there, Gene.
I mean, collectively as a show, not each person. And, people ask, hey, after 52 weeks, how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it fun? And it's like, well, part of it is like, because every week is like the very first week from a technical standpoint. It's like the first fucking time we've ever tried to do this. And we spend 20 minutes trying to hear each other. And if you want a little sample of that, there's a lot of it over on our Patreon. There's some really great pre-show, our hot mics thing over there. But then again, there's usually always like 10 minutes like, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? It's like that goddamn phone commercial. Like, can you hear me now? No? What am I doing wrong? Let me plug this in over here. Let me turn this off. So.
It usually goes, I've got it plugged in on my side. Gene, you say something. No, we're not hearing. And I'm trying to do technical work while Josh is going, something's wrong. Something's going on there.
It's the night.
Like, you ain't got his
volume. Is this a rib? Are you joking? Like, I'm over here going, if it's a rib, it's a rib on me. I've been sitting here since 7 o'clock. But no, it's been fun. And as we wrap up 1993, we prepare to pivot to 1991. That should be a lot of fun. And we will, we will take a couple of weeks off in between ending 93 just so I can prepare for 91 and do some research. And we'll probably put together like a 1990 recap episode where we kind of talk about how 1990 ended so that we're coming in with a clear view of where we stand in January of 1991. So that's coming up soon. But first, let's head back to November 20th, 1993 for this week's episode of USWA Championship Wrestling. And I'm just going to say right out of the gate, this is the most chopped up, incomplete, jacked up episode we've had to cover so far in 1993. Not only is it not the live Memphis version, but the whole beginning of the show is just cut off here as we come into Dave Brown pitching to the first commercial, and he's warning us we're about to see a Rex Hargrove match on the other side of said commercial. So that's how we start this week. So, I don't know. This may be a long day, guys, but match number 1 for this week's show, the Tennessee Vol, a.k.a. the Real Man, Rex Hargrove, taking on a guy who's kind of just become Brian Christopher's former tag team partner. It's kind of his gimmick now, Tony Williams. Frank Morrell is back after an extended absence from television here. And no, he clearly has not been away getting a neck transplant. He still is just a bow tie laying under his chin. Tony Adams is late coming out of the ring for whatever reasons. Perhaps she was getting dressed or having her stomach pumped again. I don't know, but she comes strolling out as the match is starting. At one point, Corbin even calls Rex Hargrove, the Tennessee Stud, which doesn't seem like a great idea since there's already been 2 of those from the same family. I thought that was weird. Guys, Tony Williams has been, looking pretty good in some of these matches. Poor Tony doesn't get shit during this match. He goes for a crossbody on Hargrove. Hargrove gives him the old Mark Henry slam and just gives him nothing here. Hargrove puts him away with the lame power slam that we've been seeing him use as of late. What'd y'all think of this match?
Oof, it was rough. Those kicks that he does while Tony's on the ground are atrocious. Like, I watch them back now and I'm like, good God, these are bad. And then when he picked him up and gave him the big boot, that looked like the stiffest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, you got to have some medium there. Like the kicks on the ground need to be a little stiffer, but that big boot was like, that was dental work right there. But yeah, it was rough to watch old Rex work. And I know he's not long for this world, but I wish the world would hurry up and turn without him.
You said work. It was work watching that match. It was rough. But we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be, we've said this about quite a few people in the course of this season, if you will, of USWA wrestling, but he seems to kind of regress. Like, I don't know if maybe it's just because I learned that he hasn't been wrestling long and now I look at him with a more critical eye or something. I don't know, but it just, I was more impressed with his first couple of matches than I was his last couple of matches. But anyway, next up, we see the clip of Crush defeating Jeff Jarrett for the USWA heavyweight title with help from Tony Adams and the real man, Rex Hargrove. And we saw this at the end of the previous week's show, but we saw it again here. And after we see that footage, Dave Brown brings out Eddie Marlin, and he announces that since the interference was so flagrant, the USWA Rules Committee has decided to return the USWA title to Jeff Jarrett. Of course, that's despite the fact that 9 out of every 10 title changes in the entire history of Memphis has involved outside interference. But guys, this interference was so flagrant, they just couldn't let that shit slide this time.
Well, it was Eddie's relative. It's his grandson.
Yeah, but we spent how many weeks, what was it, a month ago? It was literally almost like 2 out of 3 weeks. Something happened with the world title and it resulted in, we're just going to hold it up. So why is it not being held up now?
Eddie Marlin was holding up belts like liquor stores in Memphis for weeks now. But all of a sudden, it's like, nah, just give it back to Jeff. That's fine.
Yeah. We can't do another tournament. Jesus Christ.
Well, that is true. But the Fabulous One comes out. He has the belt handed back to him. I'm surprised Jerry Jarrett didn't get the bass player from the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band or the puppet from TNN Shotgun Red to come out and give him the belt and say it's fabulous.
Here's Marty Stewart's bases, and he's got something for you, Jeff.
The biggest guest yet, Ralph Emery here from the Nashville Network.
Now, Jeff, I seen how flagrant that interference was last week, and it's just right they gave you back that title because that's just a shitload of fucks. What that? Oh, I can't say. I'm sorry, we're live. I mean, at the very least, they could have him go back and sit on Jackie Fargo's couch with Jackie Sands pants again and have him, I got you your belt back here, Jeffrey. That's fabulous. But anyway, beyond that, Eddie Marlin goes on to tell us some bullshit about how they're going to clamp down on outside interference, especially in title matches, apparently. Sure you are, Eddie. Sure you are.
I believe that like I do. You're going to arrive safe in a car at night.
Yeah. I mean, on the 85 show, they had Tom Ernesto, who had become the booker, came out and made a big to-do about we're going to do away with interference. People interfere, they're going to get suspended. But we have been doing some studies. We've sent out a nationwide, what did he say? It was not a quiz, but like a nationwide survey. Now, I don't know why Memphis needed to send out a nationwide survey, but he sent out a nationwide survey, and they learned that wrestling fans in 1985 wanted to see more 2 out of 3 falls matches. That's what they were. That's what they were craving.
They hit up the Hispanic populations.
Apparently, So in the middle of the show, in the next match, Coco and Norvell, the PYTs, are wrestling in a 2 out of 3 falls match, like right in the middle of the show, not even expiration of time. And in the very next match, we have interference. 2 falls straight out of a 2 out of 3 falls match. They have interference after the damn guy just said we're not gonna have any more interference.
What did we just say, guys?
God, like yourself, look like a goof there, if you will. But so then Marlin announces they are fining Chris Adams and Rex Hargrove $500. I mean, if you know what these guys really make, then $500 is like, holy shit. Now, but if you're a wrestling fan and you think these are guys who make big money, you're like, $500? What does this guy care about $500? Now, of course, we know that's like, that's like 2 months worth of paydays at least.
I think I sent y'all a text that just said that totaled him out. Like, I feel like if that was a real fine, like he would go back to the back. He's like, so I'm giving y'all $25 a week for the next 3 months to wrestle here. Yeah, pretty much.
So this brings out Toni Adams and Rex Hargrove. So we get one of these, what's now becoming the norm, one of these high-pitched, screeching Toni Adams promos, which the only high spot of it is this.
Oh, man. I had to pause it, dude. Like, I felt like I was 12 years old again. I was like, jackpot.
I mean, just because that was a 12-year-old weenie in your hand doesn't mean that you're 12.
What?
Nothing. How old is she? Is she still alive?
Lord, no.
No, where have you been?
Oh, okay.
We discussed this at length.
I was off.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you're never here. But yeah, so it must have been Brian we were talking to.
Yeah. So he
would have spoiled it that she was dead. Like first time she came on the screen, like, oh hey, look at her. She's like, she's dead.
You know that.
She's dead. Were you around for the stomach pumping story?
No, but I wasn't shocked. It was kind of like you were like, you know, if you got kids listening to us right now, go ahead and earmuff it. It's kind of like you said, you know, Easter Bunny wasn't real. It was like, oh yeah, that tracks. That makes sense.
But it was such a weird. So like you're going through Meltzer's notes, and it's like, you know, Brian Christopher did this, and Jerry Lawler did this. Toni Adams missed last Monday night because she was having her stomach pumped. And then Tuesday they went to the like, whoa, that in with no context, no, just like super, super uncomfortable. But anyway, it gave us this nice screenshot there.
Lord,
side boob. Look at, I like Corey's face right there. It's like,
that's not ridiculous.
If you would have had
to be in there.
If you would have had a pool, like if you would have said
money
20,
or like
25, money or swimming. If you had a pool, you would have had her probably.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying like if you would have had a pool going on out of those 3 people, who would be the last person standing in 2025? Just on age alone, you would think Dave would be like low man on the totem pole on that bet. Like he's like, you put $5 down, you're gonna win 2,000. Like, but now we're here in 2025 and he's the only one standing.
Yeah, even Corey's gone. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Speaking of her getting her stomach pumped, I asked Jamie Dundee last week if he had any theories on why, and he didn't have a theory. He knew why. I'm going to make you go listen to last week if you haven't to find out JB's reason. But he says he got a phone call about it, that it was the reason. So next up, we get the first of our rehashed music videos that we've seen a lot of this week. Although this first one is rehashed from 1992, featuring the American Eagles to the tune of Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. I would actually love to play a clip of this cheesy ass video, but then I'd have to hear about the YouTube warning. So we'll skip that, I suppose. Yeah. But wow, it was like, I was going to say a 90s thing, but it felt like an 80s video. Like it felt like out of date when it aired originally. It would have felt like really, really out of date, out of touch. But what we will do though, we're not going to watch that video, but I do want to check out some of this promo because, well, we'll talk about why I wanted to hear this. But spoiler, we also get to hear for the first time from Phi Delta Slam, the new tag team in town of Textbook and Bandit. So check this out.
Right now, or just about right now, I would like maybe to get a comment or two from them about the situation in the USWA before they head to the ring. They are headed this way, but Fans greeting them as they make their way around here. The red, white, and blue, the American Eagles, and here they are. Hello there.
Hey, Brown, let me tell you something. Nice to see you and nice to see all the fans out there. The USWA is the hotbed of professional wrestling. That's where all the action is taking place, right here. And that's why the American Eagles, liberty and justice are here, because of one thing. We want to win matches, and we want those USWA tag team titles around our waist, because we are the colors of the good old US of A, and the USWA is the colors of the USWA, and those belts would look good around our waist, right, partner?
Yeah, and the good thing is about it, if we win the tournament, then next week, right here on television, maybe you'll get to see us win those titles.
That's exactly right, because, hey, like I said, the USWA is the hotbed of professional wrestling, and that's where the competition is the toughest. That's why we like it, and that's why we're here.
Now,
okay.
All right, you guys have got a match coming up. Let's.
You know, you two guys come out here with your high-flying moves, and you think you're real cute. But this week, there's a tag team tournament, and we're going to prove to you and the whole USWA who the best team is, my friend. Because two bums like you could never lick the institution that is Phi Delta Slam.
Oh, yeah, well, let me tell you something. If you think you're better than the American Eagles, how about getting it on right now? We'll go to the ring right now, okay?
The ring awaits.
Oh, yeah.
Phi Delta Slam says, let's go.
Get it on right now.
The best line ever.
Those guys can never lick the institution that is Phi Delta Slam.
One of them would go to jail trying.
So, first of all, Uncle Danny starts this off with what is always one of my favorite wrestling promo tropes that happens, and that's when wrestlers say they are out to do one thing and then proceed to rattle off multiple things that they're going to do. It's like, we want to do one thing, and that's win matches, win tag team titles,
beat the charges.
The other thing that really stood out to me about this is if they're just going to come out here and talk in their regular voices, why do we even have the mask? Just lose the mask and be the American Nightmares, or shit.
Well,
wait a minute, maybe not the American Nightmares, Cody Rhodes, huh? But I mean, why even? I mean, the minute these two guys open their mouths, there is no question to anybody who's ever heard a promo from them that this is Danny Davis and Ken Wayne, like just without question.
Yeah. My favorite line, and I sent it to you guys, the USWA is the colors of the USWA. And then I put a little line under it that said Danny Davis. Had a real kicked my leg out of my leg Brett moment there, didn't he?
Yes, I think his mask was tied a little too tight. Like Uncle Danny was usually a lot better on the mic than we've seen here in the American Eagle. I think maybe he cinched that American Eagle mask up a little too much. I don't know.
He was talking like it was like too far down on his mouth. Like he was like, let me tell you another thing. Damn it, Mom. Sew these masks a little bit better. We're going to do another thing, too. We're going to get one of those X-Acto blades and cut some more mouth hole out of this thing.
Maybe he got like a summons for a divorce or something right before this.
They're like, are you Danny Davis? And he's like, yes.
I mean, I've seen some great gear that your grandmother made over the years. Yeah. These guys look like a flea market blew up all over them. Like,
it's bad. It is bad.
I told Josh while we were watching it, I was like, it's like your grandmother just went to Walmart and saw a roll of fabric and said, just give me the whole roll. I'm making capes.
She made a bunch of mistakes.
Eagles, huh? Okay.
You know when you unroll fabric and it's got that weird white line that doesn't have any design on it? I swear to God, I saw that on one of the capes. We can either make it 3 inches shorter and give it to Danny or just make it to where it's...
Hey, I'm remembering during this time period, there was a gas leak under the house. So maybe that's what happened.
Oh, I love that. I don't want to keep pitching back to this, but I asked Jamie during that interview last week about the awful things he was saying on TV about Little Eagle. And he's like, he did look like the Elephant Man. Go on his Facebook right now. Look up his name.
Here's his government name. Go look it up. He's my friend.
He put his government name out there.
Great. He like said all this bad shit about him. He was like, yeah, man, he's a great guy. He's my friend. So it didn't make me feel bad about some of the shit I say
yeah.
on here.
Because he said way worse.
I bet you I know why the gear was rushed. And I bet you this is what it was. The day that they were coming over there and getting fitted, Josh was at the house. And Josh was a spry young boy. And they're like, somebody's got problems. You don't keep alcohol around them. If they're a drinker, if they're a smoker, you don't keep cigarettes. You definitely don't keep teenage or 10-year-old boys around one of them. So maybe they were like, let's just measure them real quick. He's going to try to show up and take my eye out tomorrow, isn't he?
He's in the area.
Publicity, won't it?
Man, didn't you look cool with that patch? Though?
Yeah. Let me tell you my dick jokes.
We're going to have to bring one of our wrestling figures, like, show us on the doll where Master of Terror touched you as a kid, Josh. Like, I want to talk about it.
Was that the joke we had with Duke this week?
Oh, my. Man. That came out of nowhere, so to speak.
Yeah. Oof. I didn't know he lived in Tennessee. That's crazy.
I did know that. Yeah.
Huh.
I was aware of that, unfortunately.
Kind of hurts us, don't it?
He wasn't born here. Need to go back where he came from.
That's more of a Patreon topic, so we'll save that.
Sorry.
That could go way awry.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of this little sample of Phi Delta Slam on the mic here? And are you guys more textbook guys or bandit guys at this point?
Dude. They had to get on at some point, and regardless, they do sound like college kids. I mean, like that it's an authentic feel for what that's worth. But man, I said it last week. I like the way that freaking the big guy, Bandit, I guess that would be, right? Or is that textbook?
Bandit's the one without the textbook under his arm. The only way. Once they set the textbook down, I'm lost. I don't know who's who anymore. But
well, the bigger guy, he seems to have good timing and flow a little bit. It looks smooth whenever he's taking some hip tosses and stuff. The other guy, he just kind of bumbles around. But
that'd be textbook.
Well, whoever.
Get it right.
Yeah.
But no, they do. You got one thing you said there. They do look like college kids because most of these guys in USWA, they look like old wrestlers, and these guys look like Dustin Starr sent them in a time machine from the current Memphis wrestling. Like, we're going to send you back to USWA and get you guys some experience. So hop in this DeLorean right here and tell them BT sent you. But we'll see how they continue to progress here. We've only got a few more weeks of 1993, so let's see if they can get their hands on the tag team titles here before we run out of time. But that rolls into match number 2 as the American Eagles, Liberty and Justice, challenged Bandit and Textbook. So they just mosey on over the ring, and we have a match. And it's not a bad match, but it gets a lot more fun when PG-13 came out to commentate. Corey's scoot over midget line still kills me. Like, I rewound that like so many times. Like, did I just hear that? Like, is that what he got his midget out of my way? I can't scoot over.
Oh, imagine if Midget D would have came back with his own insult. Boy, that would have set Dave all over the place, wouldn't it?
Oh, of course. He'd have said that. But I was kind of surprised that, JC Ice let him talk to his midget like that. I would have figured, that's his midget, by God. You don't talk to him like that, but maybe he just didn't hear it. But
you know what's funny is, like, you keep talking about the Phi Delta Slam. Is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you keep calling them Textbook and Bandit. I had a dog that lived to be 20.
His name Textbook?
No, his name was Bandit. So every time you say Textbook and Bandit, I feel like Uncle Danny's out there fighting dogs. It's just like in my head.
I bet Bandit would whip his ass, wouldn't he? Go and then just beat his ass.
I was hoping you were about to tell a story about how your dog ate your textbook and you ended up naming your dog Textbook. That'd have been a lot stranger.
No, his name was Bandit. He lived like 20 years too, but I just can't hear the word bandit without thinking that Uncle Danny was out there challenging a dog to a match while wearing a mask.
He would have had to have Richard Lee in his corner, of course, and well, you missed the last show, but we'll talk about that later. So we had some fun with PG-13 out here in commentary, and then things went downhill when Jeff the Gaylord made his way out to do his own commentary, because apparently he and Mike Anthony are going to be wrestling Phi Delta Slam, and eventually they tie Liberty up in the ropes. They start to go for Justice's mask, as if there's any mystery to who the hell these guys are anyway. I assumed that this was going to bring Gaylord in for the save, but instead we just had to wait forever for Frank Morrell to take an awkwardly long time to finally free Ken Wayne from the ropes to make the save for Uncle Danny to not be masked, even though everyone knew exactly who it was, unless they were deaf, dumb, or both.
Man, watching that back, I was so like, I was embarrassed for them, because
which ones?
The Eagles, man.
Oh, okay.
Because I know in the back, whenever they decided, all right, now this is what's going to do. This is going to be the finish, and man, they're going to be into it. The crowd's going to be hot. None of that. You could have heard a fucking pin drop in there, and Uncle Danny's just like fighting. He's acting like he's fighting to keep his mask on, and you just hear like one little girl in the crowd, no.
And that was because Ken was over there.
the loud, the loudest,
gonna take my eye.
The loudest part of that whole thing was actually Ken busting through and stomping over to break it up.
Yeah.
And it was bad. And I don't know. I guess because maybe the match took it out of the crowd or something. I don't know.
The crowd was into it till that match started.
I don't know, man. But it was just total radio silence almost.
Yeah.
And then it just, was this big boom, big smars in the middle with like other people coming in, and they just kind of leave.
You could definitely hear a fat kid in the third row let us silent but deadly out, couldn't you?
Maybe it was Jeff Gaylord coming out there and ruining the fucking vibe. That's what it was. It sopped it up like a biscuit.
It could be. We'll blame it. I'm always down to blame shit on Jeff Gaylord, but I don't know, man. When you go back and listen to that promo and look at them out there, I kind of get why the American Eagles aren't really setting the place on fire. And then, of course, when they're out there feuding with Bandit and Textbook. Jesus Christ, those names. I wish we could get somebody to cop to whose names those were. But right now, we're going to take a quick break.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here, curator of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, inviting you guys to listen to many of the programs here as part of the WrestleCopia brand, including, but not limited to, the Wrestling Memory Grenade, currently covering the 1988 and the WWF project. You can also listen to the Regional Wrestling Podcast, where we talk the territories. You can also listen to the Wrestling Stoop with the legend himself, Bob Roop. But that's not all. You can also check out the Puro Wrestling Academy with the professor of Puro Resu, Mr. Dan Ginnity. Dan and I go back in time and cover the history of Japanese professional wrestling in the English language. And you can listen to all of those shows and more, all part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, located over at WrestleCopia.com. That's WrestleCopia.com, and anywhere your podcast streaming needs are met. So if you're looking to support that next up-and-coming podcast brand, please consider making it WrestleCopia.
Hey, it's Bob Smith, and guess what? The Outdated Wrestling Hour is now part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. But hey, no fear, you're still going to hear the unique guests, comedy, music, authors, journalists, funny people. Who knows who's going to end up on the Outdated Wrestling Hour? Remember, it's all new and all old. So check it out in the WrestleCopia Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcasts. Listen if you know what's good for you.
We are back, and so the next match. Now, so you weren't around for this, Richard. We had a debut on the the previous episode of the USWA. A gentleman by the name of the Warlock. Now, you watched this episode, right? You saw Jeff Gaylord against the Warlock. Did you realize who the Warlock was, and if so, how long did it take you to come to that conclusion?
Was it Rex? Or was it? I just saw the blonde hair. I was either thinking him or Gangrel.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. For some reason, we've brought Vampire Warrior back just weeks after he left, and we've put a mask on him. We've named him Warlock, and it's not like, oh, hey, I wonder who that guy is. He's not supposed to come back. Like, we're acting like this is a completely new guy, even though, he's wearing the same boots and there's some tails there for sure. But, yeah, he came back last week in his debut match. He wrestled Del Rios, who is unfortunately still rocking his Village People Get Up. Bless his heart. I guess
give us a gay lumberjack, bro.
very, very popular in certain communities. Is all I'm saying. Okay.
Here was my question during the break. Why could they not just have the Nightmares? Why could you not have just the Vampire Warrior? Those are names that you've established. And I mean, it seems like, and don't get me wrong, because somebody's gonna hear me say this, and they're gonna go, "You're really gonna compare the two?" But you weren't doing that with Jeff. You weren't doing that with Jerry, and you weren't really doing that with Brian either. It wasn't like they went away for a few weeks and you decided to throw a mask on them and make them royal flush and just put them out there in a match. Like, Jerry wasn't doing that. Why not use your established names, especially in this point in time where it seems like Jerry's not there and you're having to borrow people from WWE to fill the show? It's like, why not use your established Memphis guys?
My theory that I gave last week on the Warlock thing is, they knew WWE was watching and they were snatching up some people here and there. Perhaps David Heath thought, well, they didn't go for me as, Vampire Warrior simply wearing my Blackheart's gear with no mask. So maybe if I reinvent a new character and put a mask on and change my look, come up with a name that's more marked. Because granted, Vampire Warrior is a lame-ass name, let's be honest. So my theory is he wanted to come in as this new character and hope that maybe, just maybe, WWE might take an interest in him or something. I don't know. I mean, I said last week that I've always thought, whether you're talking about the Blackhearts or Warlock or anything, anytime you put a mask on David Heath, it's a mistake. The dude's got a unique look. He if anybody shouldn't wear a mask, if anybody looks like a freaking vampire, it's David Heath. So and plus this weird mask that he's wearing here, it's some kind of S&M shit or something. I don't know what shop in Memphis he got that from, but it wasn't the wrestling store. I can promise you that.
Have I put him over for being one of the coolest people in the locker room I ever talked to?
I don't remember if you've done it on this show or Patreon or just us talking. So please do.
Dude, I remember we were wrestling at a show, and it was towards the end of my run as a wrestler, and we were in the back in Chester County, in Henderson, Tennessee. And I'm in the back dressing room with everybody. You're talking everybody from, lower rung people to people that were on Memphis TV and everything. And, there was certain bigger stars that didn't dress with us. And I'm sitting over there talking to this guy, and he's really cool. And I'm looking at him like, this guy looks a lot like Gangrel. And we're sitting there talking some more, and I'll be like, motherfucker, this is Gangrel. He should not be
fangs.
Yeah, he was putting in his fangs and everything. But I'm like, he's dressing with everybody in the locker room. He's being really cool. He's not, this is a guy that had one of the coolest entrances in WWE. That alone should have made it to where he didn't talk to any of us, any of our lowly asses. But he just sat back there and shot the shit with us. He was really cool, really nice guy. You know what I mean? Top 5 of one of the nicest wrestlers I've ever met in the back. So to see him trying, and what's funny is I find myself in the same place because in 2008, my partner wasn't showing up to wrestling anymore to Memphis TV with me. And I had to try, they wouldn't book me because I'm a tag team guy. So I was trying everything. I did the same thing. I put football pads and a mask on trying to get booked. So I get it. You're trying to get hit here, but man, it sucks when you got guys like you said, Gangrel, that's sitting there. That's such a good guy. And he's a good talent. And it's just man, I wish they would take off for him,
And he's having to wrestle Jeff Gaylord.
even your files said, no, we're done with that. It corrupted itself.
Yeah. I thought this was going to be a great rib on you guys. I was like, hey, I'll make you watch a Jeff Gaylord match. And my computer's like, nope, we're not doing that.
Jesus really took the wheel on that one, Gene.
Yeah. So, I guess you guys owe a debt of gratitude to my computer tonight, who was like, no, I'm going to do my own editing on this week's show. So the Warlock gets a win over Jeff Gaylord here. And Jeff Gaylord, he's doing singles. He's doing tag matches with Mike Anthony. We're trying to make it work with Jeff Gaylord. And if you just look at an 8x10 of Jeff Gaylord, you're like, man, this guy should be a big hit in Memphis. Like, he's got a better body than a lot of the guys do. We should be able to do something with him. But holy shit, he can't talk. And by all accounts, like, everybody you talk to from that era, and you're like, hey, man, tell me about Jeff Gaylord. They're like, he was a fucking goof. Like, he just didn't get it. He never got it. Like, nobody really has a good thing to say about that. Sadly. And I mean, I know the guy's passed, and I ain't trying to, talk to his head or something, but that's just a fact. Like, if there was a good story I could tell about him, like, hey, I did hear one time this guy nobody puts him over. Like,
What was it that took him out? Is that too morbid to ask?
Was it a car wreck? No, he was homeless when he passed away. He went to prison 2 or 3 times for robbing banks. He robbed the same bank twice.
That's some Raising Arizona shit right there.
Exactly. I mean, that really happened. That's not even some that's some real shit that happened to that guy.
He went to rob it and filled out the deposit slip and everything with his real name.
Gave him his driver's license just to make sure.
I don't want him to think I'm robbing it before I rob it.
It seemed like on the up and up until they realize I'm got a gun. But yeah, so anyway, Jeff Gaylord's still here, and Warlock's here. So. On this show in 93. And I think circling back to 91, we'll get to see some earlier Jeff Gaylord. So,
isn't it crazy that Jeff Gaylord, a man that looks like he was chiseled out of granite, is gone, and then the big guy that had the glasses that I forgot his name that you said was still alive, and
Melvin Penrod Jr.
He's still with us. That's crazy, isn't it? I mean,
this sounds terrible right now. Earlier, you're rooting for Dave. Like, why is Dave Brown's old ass still alive? And now you're like, that guy who was out of shape and had health problems is still alive. Like, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, it just gives me hope because I stopped going to the gym. So it's like maybe that's what keeps you alive. The fat cells, you're still alive till your body eats them.
Yeah,
you're gonna be one of the last to star. That's for sure.
Unless your heart gives out.
Anyway, next up, we get a very, very dated video featuring a very, very old Willie Nelson song promoting Dirty Dutch Mantel, who's apparently coming back into the territory. Dude, the songs they would pick back then just blew my mind sometimes. It's like, what the hell is this?
Half the fucking clips weren't even in color.
I know.
I'm just joking.
And speaking of what the hell is this, we roll straight out of this video immediately into a commercial, and immediately out of that commercial, we revisit the infamous Fabulous One Jeff Jarrett "We Shall Be Free" music video, where he apparently frees a school full of children
teaches them to spell fabulous.
Yes, he puts them in groups and they spell out fabulous. You'll never get me to believe that they did it in the right order, though. I'm sure there was some creative editing by someone to make this work. And I'm guessing seeing Jeff Jarrett in the middle of that mob of kids at that school is probably how we convinced Master of Terror to make this baby return and become an American Eagle. he was on the fence about it, and then somebody's like, "Did you see that Jeff Jarrett video?"
Yeah,
and he's like, "All right, make this dude."
Man, I gotta make a turn. Sawyer's too.
I still laugh,
Danny,
like it was the first time I saw it when he's giving the kid the basketball, and they're 2 feet away from the basketball hoop, and he shoots the ball, and it just bricks right off the. And you can see the visual reaction from Jeff. Go, just like, come on, man! I I'm trying to look good here. But it was
meanwhile, I'm watching it thinking, this is a video. That was the best shot y'all could like. Y'all could not find a shot of this kid making one hoop. Like he couldn't do. I mean, you make Jeff like a complete asshole here. Well,
get Antonio up there. He can hit the rim at least.
Maybe this was when, like, I guess a time where tape was more precious. So maybe they were like right there at the end, and that was the last shot. The tape ran out.
You sure you can make it? The battery's about to run out of this thing. I got it. I can do it. We got one take at this.
That the music choice though, "We Shall Be Free," just every time.
I had to piss so bad during it. I was so thankful that when I saw the start of this video, I was like, thank God, I'll definitely be able to do this.
So match number 4, the fabulous one, Jeff Jarrett, the once again USWA Heavyweight Champion because of the flagrant interference in the title match with Crush, taking on Ken Raper. Yes, Ken Raper is back with his birth name, apparently, where he's not the Master of Terror anymore. He's not, what was that goofy horror gimmick we heard that he did recently? We didn't get to see it, but we heard about it.
The Deadhead.
Yeah, he's not the Deadhead. He is.
I told you, I found the footage on that tape of my granny's. It's fucking horrible. It's not good.
Well, I refuse to think it's a better option to call yourself Ken Raper, but perhaps so. The story of this match is Ken Raper's pulling Jeff Jarrett's hair a lot until Jeff Jarrett ends up getting a win with a schoolboy roll up. And that's it. There's no
you pull my hair enough, I'll roll you up, you son of a bitch.
I'll roll you up. And he's like, oh, they got to take a shitty DDT. Go ahead.
Yes.
Apparently, he was so embarrassed when Brian did a double DDT in front of him recently. He's just like, all right, fine, you got me. I'm not doing the DDT anymore. And then when he goes to the WWF very soon, you notice, I'm sure it's like, God damn, pal, don't do that DDT. Like, do the figure 4 or something. But so next up, we get another rehash video. This time it's the Brian Christopher I'm Evil video, except our YouTube channel has replaced the audio
with soft jazz.
Frankly, I'm not even mad at it. Honestly.
I mean, to be fair, that little jingle stayed in my head, and it's something to see. Somebody healing like a son of a bitch to some coffee house music.
Meanwhile, Brian has just turned babyface. We're trying to convince everybody he's a babyface. So let's remind everybody with this video of him being a complete dick.
Yeah. Remember what a shithead this guy was?
Just 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, he was the biggest piece of shit we had. Yeah. Now he's the ultimate babyface. So.
Hitting women hard. Like hitting them hard.
Very hard.
Now he's hitting the bad women hard. That's why we like him.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing proper violence against the proper women, I should say.
Yeah.
Proper violence against women. But so now this, I was intrigued when they announced this match early in the show. Jerry Lawler and Brian Christopher were going to be taking on PG-13. I was like, hell yes. This is going to be great. I'll suffer through all this other tomfuckery to get to that. Then the match only goes like a couple of minutes, and then we do get one fun spot where Lawler chases Midget D around the ring, and then he dives under the ring to safety. Then we go to a commercial. And we come back, we don't even see the count out finish. They just, we got PG-13 to walk the fuck out of here. And Jerry Lawler and Brian Christopher won. We'll see y'all next week. Okay, so I don't know if that's what really happened on the live version or that's just how we chose to edit it. But I'm like, could we not have skipped one of these old ass videos and showed more of this tag team match? Did we need to see Dutch Mantel to a Willie Nelson song or an outdated Brian Christopher video or God forbid that We Shall Be Free shit with Jarrett and we see 2 minutes of this fucking match? Like, I was so pissed when this was over with. How are y'all?
Dude, I laughed so. You know what it reminded me of? That scene from The Simpsons where it shows the little dog and he's like, I've got to go back to my hometown now. And it goes from being animated to like a picture of him. Yeah. And you just see this rocket ship goes up and it says, Sparky died in space or something like that. He was never seen again. It's like, I loved how they went to commercial. Like, and the commercial came out of nowhere too. Because it was like they were wrestling, PG-13 were buying time. You hear, dun, 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 and Corey and then we're like, so now we got more of the, and it just cuts off. Yeah. And it comes back on. It's like, PG-13 ran away.
Them pussies just ran away in there. And now they got counted out. Well, see you next week. What the fuck just happened? Yeah. Very, very. This was a very underwhelming episode of USWA Championship Wrestling, to say the least.
What would make it worse is if that was the way they planned it.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, like, the beginning probably just got shaved off by whoever, edited it for, like, the DVD I pulled it off of. But, like, the rest of the show, I'm pretty sure that's what aired. Like, I'm pretty sure they're like, no, man, we've got to fit these videos in. We'll trim it off. We saw the entire Jeff Gaylord match. We saw the entire American Eagles versus Phi Delta Slam. We saw every hair pull from Ken Raper to Jeff Jarrett. And we saw 2 fucking minutes of PG-13 versus Jarrett Lawler and Brian Christopher.
If you were to tell me, Gene, that we watched that entire We Shall Be Free video, and then all of a sudden you just see a little thing that says RW at the bottom and the video just starts rewinding and they play it again, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense. That tracks on this one. Because that's how many videos they showed and how long they seemed. And then we got PG-13 ran away.
Like some bitch asses in there. I was finna slap the hell out that midget if he hadn't ran away.
I would expect that from Bandit. He was a little bit of a loose cannon. He'd run if you let him, but not PG-13.
I've got to put that clip up on the Facebook page of Corey Maclin going, move over, midget. So, I mean, I guess maybe, since that's technically his name, maybe Corey didn't even think about how that sounded. He's just saying his name, like move over midget, just like he'd say move over Wolfie or move over Jamie. But that's not how it came off. It sounded like him just being the biggest midget bully ever. Like, move over midget with your punk ass. Like, God,
it was a very Huck Finn way to name Midget D, wasn't it? My name's Dennis.
I should have asked Jamie the process of them naming him, because, he basically said that he adopted him. He had legal custody over him. So I assumed that they named him. So I don't know. But it made him. We talked about this the other week when you wasn't here. Maybe you was here. Did we talk about, would you hear the week we said that it made it sound like Wolfie was the dad? Because it was Wolfie D, Midget D. Jamie was the mom in this scenario.
I feel like we talked about that on a chat too.
Well, we probably did. So I'm sure Jamie wouldn't enjoy that if he sees this episode. Luckily, I'm sure he won't. But anyway,
did you tell him our theory about running through midgets like Jake did?
No, we didn't get a chance to. We're going to talk some more though, and I may just send him that whole thing and be like, "Tell me what you think of this."
Yeah. Lose my number, Gene.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be like, I don't even remember recording that. So let's take our last podcast commercial break, and I guess we'll talk a little more in detail, even though we kind of already did right here, about what we liked and didn't like about this show. So we'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Wolfie D from PG-13. Check out my podcast, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, every Monday at noon. We're talking Memphis, we're talking ECW, WCW, WWF, everywhere that I've been. We even have some great guests, some Hall of Famers on the show with us. Every Monday at noon, Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school, but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Chic, Jarrett, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise, this team does it all. And all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling. Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is Wrestling Nostalgia, the podcast that dives into wrestling history. Hey, wrestling fans, I'm Dave Dynasty, and if you enjoy podcasts that are knowledgeable and history-driven, then Wrestling Nostalgia is for you. With great guests and fun interviews, there are over 200 episodes in our archives. We chat with several first-time guests and often cover topics not discussed on other podcasts. Look up Wrestling Nostalgia on your favorite podcast platform and visit all of our links at linktree/wrestlepod. That is linktr.ee/RASSLEPOD. And remember, wherever you go, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and keep on growing.
All right. So, I don't know. This feels so anticlimactic, more so than any episode we've ever done. But then again, it's maybe the most challenging for the second question. But the first question, both questions may actually be challenging. What was your least favorite part of today's show?
The interview with Rex Hargrove. Like everything with him and her was just, I'm ready for it to be over. You know what I mean? Like she does nothing for me. Yeah.
Not even that?
No, because I know it don't look like that anymore.
Well,
Lord, no.
Well, some of it might. I don't know if all that was real, but I mean, that's my thing. You know, it's like she's annoying. And to a point where even when I was a kid, I could overlook annoying features if you were good looking enough, but to a point. Like I remember I used to think Jessica Simpson was hot till she said that stupid thing about the tuna fish. And I was like, I don't think it's legal. Yeah, I was like, I don't think it's legal for me to look at this girl in this way.
If you don't read the Wall Street Journal,
no,
like you're nothing to Richard. You ain't gonna get.
Are you equating to not knowing what tuna fish is to reading the Wall Street Journal?
You're being a prude.
But, okay, so the tuna fish, even seeing her in those Daisy Duke shorts and that god awful Dukes of Hazzard remake, still didn't do nothing for you because she doesn't know what tuna fish is or chicken of the sea or whatever.
That whole show, it wasn't just that. Don't get me wrong. That was a stupid moment by her, but just seeing clips from that show where she's just sounding dumber and dumber. And I'm like, it's going to take a lot of work.
You were watching it with the sound on. That's where you went. I used to like Shania Twain videos as long as the mute button was hit. But if I had to hear the bitch sing,
boy, did she have some double standard songs?
Yeah,
I mean, just that's another one I couldn't get past. So yeah, no, Miss Simpson really ruined it for me. So no, her and Rex Hargrove's the shit. So yeah, it was the worst. It was the worst segment for me on the show. On a show with a lot of worst segments.
Yeah, like I said, finding the worst segment was probably the hardest thing of this one. But all right, Josh, what was your least favorite part of today's show?
Well, just like you said, there's a lot to hate on this one for sure. But two main points, man. That finish, like we've talked about with PG-13, you could have done something else. There had to have been another way. And like you said, maybe something happened during the live that just they couldn't show because it conflicted with whatever. So we'll just treat it like it's radio and explain it to you. We'll tell you a story about how it ended, and that'll just be it. It was that, and oh my God, dude. We talked about it during the front. The Rex Hargrove versus Toni Williams match was one of the worst matches that we have watched reviewing this show. And I figured out, or at least my theory on, you think like Rex was pretty much, he's been degrading as we've watched him. Like he looked okay at first. And I think it's just each time he's been on camera wrestling, he stayed a little bit longer. Each match kind of lasted just a little bit longer than the other one. And you got him out there alone this time. Like, I don't, has he had a singles match or is he just been in tags?
Been all tag matches thus far on TV.
Yeah, you got him out here alone. they thought, okay, Toni, man, he'll lead this. It'll be great. Even Toni couldn't.
No.
He wrestled like I would wrestle with my son whenever he's like 5 years old. He's like, even the punches were just bullshit. Absolute bullshit. The kicks next to nothing, and it translated on camera really fucking bad. Yeah. Everything, even that power slam that he did, it was the most ginger fucking bullshit. It looked awful. And they should have known keeping him out there that long was going to be a bad recipe. It was not going to work. And don't even get me started about the fucking promo. Just let Toni Williams come out there, or Toni Williams, fuck. What's her name? Tony Adams. Yeah. Come out there, show the side boob, cuss Brian Christopher.
All we needed.
And then just let Rex wrestle for about a minute. It was fucking awful.
Richard's more into Toni Williams. That's disturbing, but
that's side boob.
I agree with the least favorite part of the show as far about I would have rather you just not show me any of the PG-13 versus Lawler and Brian Christopher match than show me what you showed me and then just take it away. That was ridiculous. So what was your most favorite part of this show?
So I'm going to look at this through the eyes of a guy from 1993. Okay, because I think we're looking at this in the wrong angle. We're looking at it from 2025 where things have worn out their work. It's kind of like looking at Lenny Bruce today, where everybody goes, Lenny Bruce is this shock comedian, but you watch him and you're like, some of his stuff is, it holds up, but it's not like as shocking as some of the stuff that's being said today for the time. So looking at this through the eyes of 1993 Richard, what was the biggest thing? And Josh, you know this. What was the biggest thing we looked at in 1993? We would spend money on it. We would watch it all afternoon when we got home from school. We would watch it at night. We would talk about it. It was, yes. Mm-hmm. Josh had a black box. But for me, it was music videos.
Oh,
that's what it was. We were watching MTV, VH1, and we had a channel called The Box, where we would watch this jukebox channel until somebody called 1-900, whatever the number was, chose a song, and we would hope that it was a video we wanted to see. So we were starved for music videos in 1993. So looking at this from the eyes of a guy from 1993, I would say my favorite part of this show back then would have been definitely the music videos. That's a long way to go.
Wow.
But I mean, you think about it. Well, music videos were big in 1990. They're not so much now, but in 93, those were pretty popular.
Couldn't we have got the damn one of the PG-13 music videos mixed in there instead of the damn Dutch Mantel Willie Nelson song or We Shall Be Free or?
Oh yeah, I mean that would have been great. And one of them was banned in the USA.
Yeah. Man from internet.
Yeah, they should have played the Two Live Crew version where it was banned in the USA.
Man, a boy in Arkansas. Oh boy!
That was my fault.
FBI, they saw it all.
Josh, what was your favorite part of the show?
Man,
you saw my reach.
Yeah, that's about it. What you just showed. No, seriously, the side boob, obviously, and the whole interaction during the match, like, well, I guess PG-13 really. Yeah. I mean, I love them coming out there. I love that the things that they were saying, during the American Eagles match and stuff like that. And then, I liked the stuff that they were doing with Brian and Lawler. I mean, for the little that we did get to see, it was entertaining, especially Lawler running after Midget D, man. I loved that kind of shit, dude. And, say whatever you want about Lawler. Lawler was never the one. He was never going to be too serious to have fun like that. That's what I always liked about him. And he always liked to do shit like that. And Midget D never disappoints. You notice that? He never, ever disappoints. Anytime that motherfucker's out there, I'm always talking good about him, man. It leaves a good taste in your mouth.
Midget D leaves a good taste in your mouth.
Midget D leaves a great taste in your mouth.
There's the quote of the week right there. Midget D leaves a good taste in your mouth. Josh Briley.
And his check
might do that on a T-shirt, actually.
His check probably kept some food in some people's mouths too.
Could you imagine a commercial redone with Jamie that was like, "Hey, we got to go out to the ring. What do we have? We got some orange stuff. We got some purple stuff. Hey, Midget D."
I don't want that little bobblehead elephant man looking son of a bitch.
You got some protein bars in there, bro?
No, we just got a midget. We keep them in the fridge to keep them fresh.
Jamie started telling that story about them all being crammed in the car, and I was like, if anybody doubts this, like Dale's already told this story, and he told it exactly the same way Jamie did, of them all being crammed into a freaking Camaro. It was like Jamie, Wolfie, Spellbinder, Mike Anthony, and two midgets all in a Camaro. Like Spellbinder and anybody in a Camaro is like good Lord. But yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite part of this show, honestly. That, I guess. I don't know. But this is one where you're going to have to go back and watch the video version, people, because we've never actually said but once or twice what that is we keep showing. So check out the video version on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right, so let's head down to the Mid-South Coliseum Monday night, November 22nd, 1993. We drew 1,150 people here for this card. Now, we're going to this blind because we weren't able to give, Dave Brown and Corey running down the card because, again, this isn't the Memphis version, but we still, tradition on the show, we're going to talk about the Memphis card regardless. Now, last week, well, I can't say the last week that we covered on the show, Richard, Downtown Bruno defeated Richard Lee in a loser leaves town match. So yes. Richard Lee was out of town, and therefore his Moondogs apparently followed with him. So as of now, in November of 1993, just before we leave 1993, Richard Lee and the Moondogs have departed. And you get a few weeks peace anyway. So again, 1,150 people have come to see in the opening match, King Cobra defeat the Wolfman. Tried to do some studying. I don't know who the Wolfman was. We do know who King Cobra is, former Unified World Champion, King Cobra. Second match of the night, PG-13 defeated the American Eagles, Liberty and Justice. Third match of the night.
Best stripper names ever, by the
way. Tiger Mike Anthony and Missouri Tiger Jeff Gaylord defeated Phi Delta Slam. Then PG-13 beat Jeff Gaylord and Mike Anthony. This wasn't a tournament. I really don't know why that match happened after the other matches, but it did. Then Dirty Dutch Mantel defeated Reggie B. Fine. That was probably a fun match, I would have to assume. Yeah. I would pay to see that. And I'd probably pay to see this one too. The Dirty White Girl defeated Toni Adams in a street fight match. So, and in the street fights in Memphis, you always have to strip your opponent to win. So that's fun. The Dirty White Boy Tony Anthony pinned Don Bass in a one-on-one match. That's right. I don't know if you're around for that, Richard, but Don Bass is back, not as the Rock and Roll Phantom, but as Don Bass. Huh. Now, here's something out of nowhere because we get no context to this whatsoever on this week's show. We didn't get a music video of him. We didn't get a reference of him. But Nature Boy Buddy Landale pinned Jeff Jarrett to win the USWA Heavyweight Championship.
Wow.
Now, I would have absolutely loved to have got any Buddy Landale we could have on if it had been a music video, a promo, all about somebody Landale. So that's disappointing, but I guess that does tell us that hopefully next week perhaps we'll get to see the new champ, Buddy Landale. So look forward to that. Then in the semi-main event, Jerry Lawler and Brian Christopher defeated Rex Hargrove and the Birdman, Coco Beware, and as a result, Tony Adams had to eat dog food. And in the Meltzer report, they made it a point to add, but it wasn't really dog food. It was corned beef hash with an Alpo label wrapped around it. Like, well, kayfabe, Dave. Come on.
Yeah, what does it matter? Jesus.
I mean, I'm sure Toni Adams didn't enjoy corned beef hash much more than she would have enjoyed
right.
cold out of a can corned beef hash than dog food.
And somebody that loves pills the way she does, she's ate dog food before.
Oh, she's like, gonna ruin my buzz.
I'm gonna get too much on my stomach. Damn, the perks won't kick.
It's Xanax, but anyway.
Okay.
Main event. There was a main event. So here's another thing. We didn't really talk about this week. We touched on it last week. So in kayfabe world, the flagrant interference of Toni Adams and Rex Hargrove caused Crush to be stripped of the title. But the real reason was because that same week, all the charges against Lawler got brought about, and Vince McMahon's like, nobody's going back to Memphis, and Lawler's not going to wrestle the Survivor Series. USWA who? And that just abruptly ended, at least momentarily. So we had to get the title off of Crush, and we had to get the unified title, and most people don't even remember he had it because he won it, and we hadn't seen him since. We had to get the unified world title off of Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
So they put it up in a battle royal, and it came down to Jeff Jarrett and Jerry Lawler, and Jeff Jarrett cheated to win the unified heavyweight title. So Mr. We Shall Be Free, babyface hero to the children's, is now a bad guy, and he's the new unified world champion. Although he just lost the USWA title to Buddy Landell earlier in the night, but there you go. So, last week we didn't delve into all the Jerry Lawler news of the day. So I will read a little bit right here quickly because this adds some context, because we didn't really talk about in there. Some of those videos that we saw on this week's show was Jerry Lawler doing, doing, what was it?
That's not a good pause you did there, Gene.
Well, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Like, he's doing like helping kids and all this kind of stuff, which I don't know if this was a great context for this, but anyway, they're showing him, donating his time, if you will. So from the Observer, it says the state of Indiana has dropped its investigation, which never resulted in any charges being filed against Jerry Lawler in the wake of the girl in question changing her story. The Kentucky authorities, however, have not dropped the charges, although it seems impossible to believe they can continue to try to prosecute Lawler with the girl changing her story. In the wake of these changes, Lawler is trying to turn the television show into his own personal public relations campaign to show what a great guy he is, a la the WWC in Puerto Rico with Jose Gonzalez in 1988 after the murder of Bruiser Brody, only to a far greater extent than even WWC did with Gonzalez. On the Saturday television show, Lawler talked about his ordeal as having been an unbelievable nightmare and said that hopefully the end was in sight, and thanked everyone for their support. They then proceeded to show clips of him doing benefit work in the Memphis area, some of which appeared to actually be about 8 years old. The footage was 8 years old. And he even had local musician and friend Tom Nunnery go on television and tell everybody what a great guy he was. So, yeah. And it's for anybody who wants to read all about it, just like last week, if you go to the Patreon, I've put all the notes about the case and the twists and turns of what was going on at the time of all that, because it's just not fun to talk about here on the show, right?
I was trying to help the kids with math. When I push it down like this, it looks like a division sign.
So, good Lord. Trying to scroll through and see if there's anything here we want to talk about.
How many times was 35 going to 8?
God damn.
Lord.
You cut that out. My eyes are gone. Both of them. They're going to go for them. It's a shaky hand going from my left eye.
All right.
Sorry.
I know this ain't all the Lawler stuff here. I guess it is mostly just the Lawler stuff. Yeah, it's just stuff from his lawyer. This week, so in the Observer this week when this show took place, This was the week of the incident in Japan at the Wing Show involving Eddie and Doug Gilbert, where they pulled off the mask and cut the shoot promo in the middle of the ring. And this is the same week that all unfolded. So they had a bunch of news about that in the Observer that week, and that's an interesting story. I don't know if you guys know that story, but we tell it in the Eddie Gilbert book. Although really, this is more of a Doug story. This was Doug's deal, and Eddie just kind of backed him on it. But it included Eddie, so we included it in Eddie's book. So
yeah,
you can read more about it there. We won't go into it here because it has absolutely nothing to do with the USWA other than that's where the Moondogs were. They were in Japan. Doug got them booked over in Japan, and they were actually on that tour, and they were in the middle of how all that blew up. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time, probably on Doug's show. So.
I feel like sending the Moondogs to Japan violates some regulations. I mean, we dropped the atomic bomb on them. Didn't we do enough to Japan? Why are we sending them the Moondogs?
Or Japan.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't come back for a lot of other tours, if that tells you anything about how well that went over. But there you go. 1,150 people for that card's nothing to sneeze at compared to some of the, some of the houses we've seen recently. So that's promising, especially with all the Lawler charges going on and the WWF deal being pulled, even though I guess Memphis fans didn't know or understand that at the time. So Jeff Jarrett's the new heel unified champion. So that should be interesting going into next week's show. Once again, we're not seeing the Memphis version next week, so I don't know what spin they'll put on all this, how many things we will and won't see, but should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it could just be brief too. Like it just, this is how Jeff did it, and this is what he's doing now.
Yeah, he's a bad guy now.
Yeah, he's the one that cut my brakes. That's why we wrecked.
Turns out,
yeah. I mean, it will be interesting to see what they do, because now I feel like they have to rely on the tried and true people. WWE's not looking at you right now, so take the fabric capes off and be the nightmares. I don't know if that's going to happen, because as well as I do, I don't watch ahead. But it would be nice to see them rely back on the Memphis people that kind of made them happen. So
I don't watch ahead, but I don't remember the nightmares being back just after about 88 or 9. They had like a one-off tag match or two against like the Gilberts or something, and then Ken turned back heel again. But anyway, we'll see how it all goes. So that's it for this week's show. So remember to check out P3 Radio. Has this week's episode been recorded already?
It has. It's out now. We did it last week because we knew we were going to be busy this week with the show and everything. So yeah, we talk a lot.
So when did it come out?
It came out today.
Okay, I didn't see a notification. So
I got a notification as we were doing this show, honestly.
Oh, okay. I was going to say maybe Richard scheduled it for 1992.
We've been scheduling podcasts and they've been coming out. So like if we were to do episode 4, episode 3 would come out like after 4. Like, how does that happen? But yeah, so
don't worry. BT was pointing that out on a recent episode here.
I'm sure he was happy to see that. I'm in rare form this week. Like I told you, I've done went off on my family. I've done yelled at my dog. Like, I'm suffering no fools this week.
I'm sure when your wife heard that somebody wanted to do monthly comedy shows, she's like, hell no. I couldn't put up with this guy every month.
I'm coming off my meds too, so that's probably not helping. I got tired of how they made me feel all happy and warm and fuzzy inside. But yeah, we'll see. I'll probably look back at this episode and be like, shouldn't have went in so hard on the pedo jokes on the 2 wrestlers, but it is what it is,
Yeah, either way, we don't
never gets subpoenaed. Like, he talked about on the show how he was off his meds, and we kind of knew something was awry.
Please don't poke his eye out, Mr. Wayne. I swear, he ain't taking his pills.
And if you do, use your hand. Don't use what you got out.
Gene, Josh, stop the tribute show. You're not going to believe what happened.
Right.
It was Richard. It was Richard all along.
Next day on the Richard Day, it's a Benoit situation.
Oh shit!
Hi guys, it's a Benoit situation.
Man,
he killed his whole family.
And then that's where the lawyer pauses.
Yeah.
And you see, that's how all of this started.
They could have edited all that out and they left it in.
The darkest episode of Retro Wrestling Review of all time.
Yeah, you'll hear me start going, the Moondogs had it right. Just use weapons.
Yeah, either way.
I didn't think we'd have our darkest episode until the 96 debut of the Nation of Domination, but here we are.
Yeah, we don't remember what we said on this last episode, but yeah, if you however you got to this episode, if you're listening to it on a podcast player, I promise you can find P3 Radio the same way.
Yes, P3 Radio. You can find it. Just
it's everywhere.
It's
like
everywhere.
And we're
While
watching.
you're looking for P3 Radio, make sure you hit up our friend Brian Tremmel's stspod.club. He puts out new and exciting content each and every week, multiple times a week. He's got minute-long things he does daily. It's
what now?
I admire his
yes.
I don't know what
tenacity,
endurance.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just said he did minute-long podcasts. You can't say endurance after that.
You said he did minute-long something every day.
Yeah.
I was like, at least every day, right?
It's good for
He's
the
married.
prostate.
Yeah, I mean, never mind. I was about to pull up that picture again.
Come on. Lift that veil back. Come on.
I was going to throw up the old picture one more time. But hey, speaking of throwing stuff up one more time, dial 256 Egg Iron. We've gone weeks now without a fucking message from anybody. It's starting to hurt our feelings.
I think it's the number.
Egg Iron. I ain't dialing that shit.
It felt kind of unnecessary to have the Iceman character return right now when we had the real one that said worse stuff than the character said. But I am hoping we'll hear back from our favorite former promoter, booker, president, owner, and founder of certain things. Yeah.
He's tried.
All right,
call.
so this is the most meandering fucking ending I've done in a long time. That used to be my worst. Ending podcast used to be my worst trait. But I got a little better at it, but this one has gone completely off the rails. USWApodcast.com for links to everything related to the podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And also check out DougGilbertPodcast.com for everything related to Doug Gilbert, Tommy Rich, and the Dangerous Conversations podcast that we do each and every week that drops at midnight on Friday. And if you haven't yet, go to tinyurl.com/Eddie Gilbert book and get your copy of our book, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, the Uncrowned King of Professional Wrestling. Anything else, guys, before we get out of here?
No, that's it. If you're living in an alternate universe and the show hadn't happened yet, come to the comedy show. No, thanks for everybody that
escapes early.
Yeah, I know we're going to have some people that came to the show. So thank you for all the people that have called or text we've seen the likes on the videos and everything. Gene, Josh, and I were talking about it before the show about how some guys were just excited to see all three of us there. And it seems stupid, but that right there was just the big, Gene made my day when he said that tonight, because you do this and it goes out into the ether and you just don't know who sees it or who listens to it, or who even gets the jokes that you're doing. So just having people that are out there that are excited about being at this show. Thank you for all of you guys. I know I speak for Josh and Gene too, that says, thank you for listening to this and being willing to support something that we would do.
Absolutely. If you're listening to this and you came to the show, thank you. Richard just said, and also I apologize if I got up there and bombed. I'm sorry. I'll do better next time. But if it went well, then hey, that's what I always do. It's easy. So I'll cut part of this out depending on which part's relevant. All right,
they ran away.
We'll see y'all next week in there for another episode of the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast right here at WrestleCopia.com.